Going live. Haribo! Hare Krishna! We're live from Washington, United States of America. Thank you so much for joining.
Krishna bless America.
Here's Ramachandra Das, your servant, the living monk, and Dr. Max Prabhu.
Max, your servant.
We're going to start the morning. We already did a short kirtan for Prabhupada, and we're going to read the translation to the Shiguru Charana Padma, Chantalal Jarata Madhava together, right? And continue reading the introduction to the Srimad Bhagavatam. I'm going to find in the meantime the text so you can follow up too. Hare Krishna. You can read the translation.
The lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way by which we can attain pure devotional service. I bow down to his lotus feet with great awe and reverence. By his grace, one can cross the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. My only wish is to have my consciousness purified by the words emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet is the perfection that fulfills all desires. He opens my darkened eyes and fills my heart with transcendental knowledge. He is my Lord, birth after birth. From him ecstatic prema emanates. By him ignorance is destroyed. The Vedic scriptures sing of his character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy, the friend of the poor, and the Lord and master of the devotees. O Master, be merciful unto us. Give us the shade of your lotus feet. Your fame is spread all over the three worlds.
Shri Prabhupada ki
Jai!
Jai! And now we're going to chant Jarada Madhava. Maybe Max Prabhu, you would like to describe your words. Jarada Madhava.
Jarada Madhava is about the pastimes that happen in the land of Vrindavan between Srimati Radharani and Krishna. And
Not just Srimati Radharani and Krishna.
With the gopis also.
Not just the gopis, Prabhu. It's not everything about the gopis in the spiritual world.
It's about the cows, the gopis.
Again,
all
the
residents, all the residents.
Forget about the gopis.
The gopis are gone. It's the Vrindavan.
How about this line? Yashoda Nandana Vrajajanaran. Well, Yashoda, she's a gopi too, but
yeah, pastimes of Krishna and his associates.
Who are the associates that mentioned?
Yashoda, his mother.
Yeah.
Raja Randana.
Nandan? Who is Nandan? Nandan Maharaj.
Nandan Maharaj is Krishna's father.
Yeah, foster father.
Okay.
And there is Giriraj, right? Giridharadhari.
Who's Giriraj?
Giriraj, Govardhan Hill.
Oh, okay.
The past time that Krishna lifted the Govardhan Hill, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the complete Prabhupada. He says, if you want to find God, this is the complete. The address, the phone, his residence, where he lives, what he does in his free time. The different flutes are described there too. Krishna, Yamuna Tiravanachari, sits on the slab of the stone, on the rock, and by the Yamuna, and plays on his flute.
Nice little summary study of God.
So, Max Prabhu gonna chant for the pleasure of Srila Prabhupada.
Jai.
This beautiful, enchanting mantra. Prabhupada would actually, before he would give a class, he would chant this particular hymn. So we continue in this tradition and we do this chant too. Hare Krishna.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari.
Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari.
Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana.
Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana.
Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana.
Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana
Yamuna Tira Vanachari
Yamuna Tira Vanachari
Jaya Radha Madhavaha Kunja Vihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi
Janavalabha Girivaradhari
Gopi Janavadava Girivaradhare
Yashodanandana Prajajana Ranjana
Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana
Yashodanandana Prajajana Ranjana
Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana
Yamuna Tira Vanachari
Yamuna Tira Vanachari
Jaya Radha Madhavaha Kunja Vihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. You can go a little bit more. You can chant Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jaya Gaurani Sai.
Hey, you can right. Usually, what we do, we just you stop. Prabhupada would stop. We follow just Prabhupada example, and he would do the Pramadvari prayers. Jao
Okay.
Vishnupad
Okay.
Paramamsa Parivar Shivacharya Ashurata Shata. So we slowly, I'm showing Max how to do the whole sadhana and all the different nuances in the practice. Max is already, he's been chanting 16 rounds, following the regs, waking up for some time. So I came to a little bit help him to adjust the sadhana, and he's doing great. So
Jaya Om Vishnu Paramahamsa Pavrajacharya Asturata Sata Srimad, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jaya Om Vishnu Paramahamsa Pavrajacharya Asturata Sata Sri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Jai.
Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Shikahu Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Sri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyam Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Shri Mayapur Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai, Ganga Mai Ki Jai, Yamuna Mai Ki Jai, Tulsi Devi Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Rihab Midanga Ki Jai, Samaveta Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai,
Jai.
Jai Gauri Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga.
All glories to
Srila
Sri Guru and
Prabhupada.
Gauranga. All glories to Sri Prabhupada. Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
So welcome everybody. Dr. Robin from Germany is here. Who else is here?
Can I read for you? Or do you want to read?
Yeah, certainly. I just want to find it on the PDF too. So if you don't mind, just wait a second. Do you have it where we start the introduction?
Yeah, about these topics of the Lord with Sri Ramananda Roy.
I just need. Oh, here I found. I'm gonna search PDF again. So we're gonna read from the Delhi edition of the Bhagavatam, the original one and only book that Prabhupada brought with him to the United States of America. It's a very interesting pastime by itself. If you think about it, there's so many books that Prabhupada translated later on. You have the Krishna book, Srimad Bhagavad Gita. You have Chaitanya Charitamrita, Ishopanishad. But Prabhupada, precisely, he brought with him the 3 first volumes of the Bhagavatam. We perhaps can discuss why is that later on, but you can, down in the comments below, you can say your own understanding. What do you think? Why is that? Why Prabhupada brought within the Srimad Bhagavatam, right here. I should have prepared it before, apologize.
Is it to continue Lord Chaitanya's mission?
Yeah, but why did he brought specifically the Bhagavatam, not Bhagavad Gita? Bhagavad Gita is actually more basic. The Bhagavatam starts where Bhagavatam ends, Bhagavad Gita ends.
But I think Lord Chaitanya, his whole mission is Bhagavad Dharma, and he spreads that.
It's a good point. To be honest, I never really precisely answered that question myself or heard an exact answer. But yeah, that sounds very nice too. So this is a nice canto. You can see the actual. I think, do you think it's an actual Prabhu's scan of the original Bhagavatam? Because they reprinted actually recently. This. Maybe you have the PDF, right? Which page is that on the PDF? Because my Kindle version doesn't say.
On the PDF, this is page. It's Roman numerals.
On the corner of the book, actual book, because I have the actual scan.
Yeah, it's in Roman numerals, and I can't really remember the Roman numerals. I think it's 13. XIII. 13.
13. That's already after the preface, I suppose, right?
Yeah, and actually...
How about you, Prabhus? Which version of the Bhagavatam are you reading? Let us know in the comments. Okay, here, introduction.
Yeah, I know where we are now. It's actually not as far down.
Which introduction part? Which page? On the right corner. There's
I don't have that. I just have the Roman numerals, yeah. It's 13 for me.
Page 13?
I think we're at to glorify great.
Yeah, it doesn't search the words for some reason. How's the sound, Bhakti Robin? I took your advice and I plugged an external mic far from the computer so you don't hear the washing machine sound. Oh, here, Ramananda Roy. When Sri Ramananda Roy began Srimad Goswami. Oh, here, renunciation of Varnashram Dharma,
Yeah, we've got it now. Go on.
peace and friendship. Ramananda suggested. No.
No.
Above these topics.
No, so above. Well, actually, I think we're before that. I think we're at to glorify a great merit is a natural instinct for a living being. I think we start.
Okay, what further suggested? No. Roy suggested renunciation,
No,
fruitive action. We read that.
Further down than that. It's starting to glorify a great merit. It's
Yes,
right in
Rupa
between
Goswami.
the renunciation and above these topics.
Above these topics,
Right in between. Those.
peace and friendship, the bold one.
Oh, just above peace and friendship. Just above, like 2 lines above that. To glorify a great merit.
Ah, here. To glorify great merit.
Okay.
Okay, Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 So how do we do this?
Can I read through, or would you like to read the class?
No, you can start reading.
To glorify a great
Oh,
merit.
you jumped.
Oh, did you lose it? No, no. To glorify. You want me to wait for you?
Yes, sure. Yeah. Oh, here. I found it again. Just
Sure.
give me a second. Yeah, you can go ahead.
To glorify a great merit is a natural instinct for a living being, but artificially they have learnt not to glorify the Lord. Perfection of life is attained simply by glorifying the Lord in association of self-realized devotees of the Lord. Self-realized devotee is he who surrenders unto the Lord fully without any further attachment for material prosperity. Natural prosperity and sense enjoyment and advancement of learning thereof are all activities of ignorance in human society. Peace and friendship are impossible propositions in the light of a detached society from the association of God and his devotees. It is imperative, therefore, that one should sincerely seek for the association of pure devotees and hear them patiently by submissive oral reception from any position of life. The position of a person in the higher or lower statuses of life does not hamper in the path of self-realization. The only thing one has to do is hear from self-realized soul with a routine program, and the speaker may deliver lectures from the standard of Vedic literatures, following the footprints of the bygone Acharya who realized the absolute truth. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recommended this simple method of self-realization, generally known as Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is perfect guide for this purpose. Above these topics of the Lord with Sri Ramananda Roy, there was still more elevated spiritual talks between the two great personalities, and we purposely withhold these topics for the present, not only on the point of increasing the volume of this book, but also on the point of principle. Up to this point, one has to come to the spiritual plane, and further talks with Ramananda Roy may be heard when one has duly passed the entrance examination. We shall try to depict further talks of Srila Ramananda Roy with the Lord in a separate booklet at suitable opportunity. Chaitanya Chaitamrita, Essay and Text. At the conclusion of this meeting of the Lord with Sri Ramananda Roy, the latter was advised by the Lord to retire from the service and come to Puri so that they can live together and relish transcendental mellows. Sometime after Sri Ramananda Roy retired from the government service and took pension from the king, he came back to Puri at his residence, and all along he was one of the most confidential devotees of the Lord. There was another gentleman at Puri of the name Shiki Meti, who was also equally confidential like Ramananda Roy. The Lord used to discuss most confidential talks on spiritual values with 3 or 4 companions at Puri, and passed 18 years in that way, and in spiritual trance, which were recorded by his private secretary, Sri Damodar Goswami, one of the above-mentioned 4 confidential devotees. The Lord extensively travelled.
Okay, before that, there's something important we can go to. Om Gyantiranandasyam Gyanashala Shalakaya Chakshunamini Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. I was born in darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master is divine grace. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Kindly open my dark eyes with torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble obeisances to his lotus feet. Hare Krishna post. So Bhakti Robin actually gave a very nice answer too that I didn't thought about, is that Bhagavad Gita was simply not a Bible. That was the first book Prabhupada actually translated to the English language, the Bhagavatam. And but one thing that was available but was lost, actually, Prabhupada did make a manuscript for the Bhagavad Gita in India. Garga Muni mentions that in the interview that I was making with him, but that manuscript is lost. Prabhupada had to do another new manuscript in New York when he reached there. So that's a nice answer too. Thank you, Dr. Robin Prabhu. Where are you living in 2 weeks? Saying you're going somewhere. So the important thing that I wanted to mention in regards to what we read now is that Prabhupada, he puts 2 reasons not to elaborate more on the topics that were discussed in that conversation and that meeting. And the 2 prime reasons, one, he mentions that not to increase the volume, because already the introduction is such a big part and we didn't even start reading the actual Bhagavatam. But there is another point that actually in Teachings of Lord Chaitanya, it's explained in the name of the chapter itself, in the talks of Ramananda Roy. You read Teachings of Lord Chaitanya?
I have not. No.
Okay, we're gonna maybe we'll read it soon. I think Sanatan Goswami Prince Day, so perhaps we can read that. That was actually my first festival at the temple.
Oh, John.
And the name of the chapter is called the High Topics of Krishna Consciousness, or something like that. The highest realization of Krishna consciousness. So this is not for ordinary practitioners of Krishna consciousness. Even in that particular chapter, which is situated at the very end of the book, Prabhupada very slightly touches the topics, but it's more or less it's about the gopis and about the highest rasas in the spiritual world. And Lord Chaitanya himself, he would never indulge in speaking about these topics except with his most, like Prabhupada explains here in this portion, except with his most confidential devotees, like Sri Ramananda Roy. He had like few of them, like you can count them on one hand, pretty much. Because for the general mass, Prabhupada explains it too. You do kirtan, prasadam, and you prove first of all, you have to make them accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of God. Until that point, no preaching. There are 2 points Prabhupada actually starts from. He starts from first edge. He explains either we're not this body, we're the spirit soul, we're eternal. How is the spirit soul the spirit soul? Because people have a very vague understanding about what is the soul too. And there is another edge he starts, is that there is God, first of all, right? Many people, they don't even accept that there is God. And that God is a person, God is non-impersonal. He smashes the impersonal understanding. And then he smashes the merging with God, this Saruja Mukti, all those things. And he establishes like that slowly, all the paraphernalia and the devotees of the Lord. And actually it meets, because that's actually the plea of Bhagavad Gita, right? From the very beginning, Krishna is addressed as Bhagyavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And what is he addressing Arjuna with? With the philosophy of Atma Tattva. Atma Tattva is the truth about the spirit soul. He explains to him the science about the spirit soul. So, with the general mass, and we should always, constantly the classes, there should be mainly about this topic, especially when new people come. We should always dwell how to explain to them, we're not the body, we're a spirit soul, there is God, God is a person, we have an eternal relationship with Him. And if you analyze Prabhupada's classes, these 3 things our eternality as a spirit soul, God as a person, and our eternal relationship with Him. It's in even every paragraph, every sentence the Prabhupada mentions is back there. So there's no need of jumping to the the gopis and all those things. Of course they're there, but there are more important things that we have to cover with the new people, so they don't get into Vrindavan without Krishna. Like you can. Some of you who've been to Vrindavan, I think Bhakta Robin, you've been to Vrindavan, right? There's so many people that they take the people and lure them right away, to the most holiest of the topics. And because of the offenses, these new devotees, their Krishna consciousness is practically doomed, because if they don't understand that Krishna, first of all, is God, and they jump into these topics, what happens is that they take these relationships as ordinary relationships, boyfriend, girlfriend, and so on. So it pollutes the Krishna consciousness. Would you like to continue reading, Prabhu?
Yes. The Lord extensively travelled all over the southern part of India. The great saint of Maharashtra, known as Saint Tukaram, was also initiated by the Lord. Saint Tukaram, after initiation from the Lord, overflooded the whole of the Maharashtra province with Sankirtan movement, and the transcendental flow is still rolling on the southwestern part of the great Indian peninsula. The Lord excavated from the South Indian portion two very important old literatures, namely the Brahma Samhita and Krishna Karnamrita.
Yeah, Brahma Samhita, that's actually right, the Govinda Mata portion that we chant. So until Lord Chaitanya's appearance, actually it was practically lost. It was, and it's just one single chapter from this huge book that Lord Brahma wrote. So until Lord Chaitanya's appearance, people they barely knew about it.
I've never heard of Krishna Karnamrita before.
This is Bilamangala Thakur. It's a book by Bilamangala Thakur, great Vaishnava saint that plucked his eyes to be in peace with the material world.
Wow.
We're going to read about it too. Prabhupada mentions his pastimes.
And these two valuable books are authorized studies for the person in the devotional line. The Lord thus returned to Puri after his South Indian tour. And there's it's a notation that the Brahma Samhita is the summary of Srimad Bhagavatam. On his return to Puri, all the anxious devotees of the Lord got back their life, and the Lord remained there with continued pastimes of his transcendental realizations. The most important incident during that time was to grant audience to King Prataprudra. King Prataprudra was a great devotee of the Lord, and he considered himself as one of the servants of the Lord entrusted with the service of sweeping the temple. This submissive attitude of the king was very much appreciated by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The king requested both Bhattacharya and Roy to arrange for his meeting with the Lord. When, however, he was so requested by the two stalwart devotees of the Lord, he flatly refused to keep the request, even though the same was put forward through the good office of such personal associates like Ramananda Roy and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. The reason is that it is dangerous for a sannyasi to be in intimate touch with worldly men of it's very interesting, of LSP, and that also with women.
LSP, it's not L, it's the pound symbol. Pound, shilling, and pence. I think we once, when we spoke on the phone, I used that term, and you didn't understand what I'm talking about.
Pound, shilling, and pence? No, that's what we used back in the homeland.
Yeah, it's in England. I think they use pence, right? But shillings, they don't use shillings.
No shillings, no, still pounds and pence.
Pounds and pence. I was always wondering, how do they calculate weight? Like in the market, you ask for 2 pounds of carrots or ginger.
No, they weigh in kilograms and stone.
Kilograms. Because they do have pounds. Like they do, like you can ask for like 1 pound.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of like tourists. It's kind of international.
Yeah, it's another thing. But yeah, this is the pound, shilling, pence man is you understand that
Yeah, it's
expression.
like people who are involved in economic affairs.
Worldly, perhaps, yeah. So yeah, for sannyasi, it's very, very poisonous. Like we actually, even as brahmacharis, we're not supposed to like deal with money and management. We supposed to only like study. Actually, in the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna he says that the brahmacharis adulterate.
Adulterate.
And the
Yeah.
opposite
Unadulterate.
unadulterate. I just said from sorry, my tongue is not working this morning.
Unadulterate.
Brahmacharis, they sacrifice their hearing process. They sacrifice their hearing process, and the grihastas, they supposed to actually sacrifice their senses. You know that they go and they work with the senses very hard, and they sacrifice that. You know, but now how can you demand for everyone to do that specific thing? We have to run things, right? So we too, we're dealing with what is necessary, but we have to keep that in mind. Why to know that, what's the purpose of us being brahmacharis? Ultimately, it's to study the Vedas, Prabhupada's Bhagavatam. So yeah, we can continue.
And spread it, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. It goes hand in hand.
The Lord was an ideal sannyasi. No woman could approach the Lord even for offering respects. Women's seats were accommodated far away from the Lord. As an ideal teacher and acharya, he was very strict in the routine work of a sannyasi. Apart from his part of divine incarnation, the Lord was an ideal character as a human being. His behavior with respect to persons were always above suspicion. In his dealing as acharya, he was harder than the thunderbolt and softer than the rose. One of his associates, Junior Haridas, committed a great mistake by lustfully glancing over a young woman, and the Lord and Supersoul could detect this misgivings in the mind of Junior Haridas. He was at once chucked off from his association and was never accepted again, even though he was implored to excuse Haridas for the mistake. Junior Haridas afterwards committed suicide in frustration of being disassociated from the company of the Lord, and the news of suicide was duly informed to the Lord. The Lord, even up to that time, was not forgetful of the offence, and he said that Haridas had rightly met with the proper punishment. On the principles of the order of life and discipline, the Lord knew that no compromise, and therefore, even though he knew that the king was a great devotee, he refused to see the king only for the reason of the king's becoming a pound and shillings man. By these examples, the Lord wanted to emphasize on the point of behavior by a transcendentalist. A transcendentalist has nothing to do with woman and money, and he, the transcendentalist, must always refrain from such intimate relations. The king was, however, favored by the Lord by the expert arrangement of the devotees. This means that the beloved devotee of the Lord can favor a neophyte more liberally than the Lord. Pure devotees, therefore, never commit offense at the feet of another pure devotee. Offense at the lotus feet of the Lord is sometimes excused by the merciful Lord, but offense at the feet of a devotee is very much dangerous for one who actually wants to make progress in the devotional service, as long as the Lord As long as the Lord remained at Puri, thousands of his devotees used to come and see him during the car festival ceremony of Lord Jagannath. And during the car festival ceremony, the washing of the Gundicha temple under the direct supervision of the Lord was an important function. The Lord's congregational Sankirtan movement at Puri was a unique exhibition for the mass of people, and that is the way of turning the mass mind towards spiritual realization. The Lord inaugurated this system of mass Sankirtan movement, and leaders of all countries may take advantage of this spiritual movement in order to keep the mass of people in pure state of peace and friendship with one another, which is now the demand of the present human society all over the world.
Yeah, this is too a very, very nice festival we're gonna celebrate before the Ratha Yatra. It's like June. I don't remember when it's this year. Every year it changes a bit. And we cleanse all the Vishnu temples all around the world. They're being cleansed before Lord Jagannath comes back to the temple. And there was something actually more significant that Prabhupada mentioned in the previous paragraph. I don't know if you noticed. Speaks about how severe is the punishment, or how dangerous is the offense, to commit offense to a pure Vaishnava, to any Vaishnava, especially a pure Vaishnava, so severe that it's even more severe than offending God, offending Krishna. The Lord, here, what is it? This means that the Lord's beloved devotee can be favored. Pure devotee never commits offense at the lotus feet of the Lord is sometimes excused by the merciful Lord, but an offense to the feet of the devotee is very much dangerous for one who actually wants to make progress. And so Prabhupada gives this example about this, that imagine you, Hare Krishna, Prabhu, nice to see you, good morning from Washington. What's the time there in China? We have like 15 hours difference, eh? So Prabhupada gives this example that if, let's say, you meet some elderly gentleman with his child, right? So you might, do something, offend the father, push him a little bit or something, you would do intentionally or unintentionally. But if the same thing he do to his child, he's going to become so angry. On himself, he doesn't care. He has greater worries, greater things to care about than someone who offended him. But if you offend the child, even slightly, if the child is offended, if he cries, because you looked at him or you said something, or, then the father, he takes an offense, He's going to call the cops, or like here in the States, you're going to get you're going to be filed a lawsuit, right? The little thing. And this is just like the relationships between God and His pure devotees. The pure devotees are just like God's children. There's actually a name, an initiated name like that, Vishnu Jan. The meaning of Vishnu Jan?
Actually, no.
Vishnu is Vishnu,
right.
And Jana means the son. Vishnu Jana, like Vishnu Jan Swami. So, or Harijan. There was a big havoc in India at the time of Mahatma Gandhi. He was initiated everyone. He was initiating everyone with the name Harijan. To abolish the caste system. He had a very nice ideal, but he didn't practically put it into practice, because he didn't want to change people's character, but he wanted to change the society. So he was just addressing everyone as Harijan, giving them the right to be called as the son of God, on the same platform of Narada Muni. Narada Muni too. It's one of his name is Harijan. So that's why that attempt, it failed. The caste system, the people who were very much in the caste system, they couldn't appreciate. But now actually you can see, I heard recently rumors that Jagannath Puri, they're going to be actually, the government pushes on them to start accepting Westerners who accept the Vaishnava principles, admit them in the temple, and at least come and see the deity of Lord Jagannath. It was practically sealed for the last, forever.
To Westerners?
To anyone who has no Hindu body or Indian body.
Wow.
So this is all thanks to His divine grace, Srila Prabhupada, because he actually took this purification method that started by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to the West, and he purified, not converted, not brainwashed, but purified the Westerners, the mlechas. So Prabhupada says, we should be even more strict, than the Indians, than why? Because they're gonna look for flaw for every little thing. So this, all these things that I'm showing you here, like they're all part of this Brahminical culture. Not to eat with the left hand, to take your bath regularly, to be organized, to be clean, suchi, muchi. What is the difference? It's not just some religious superstition. You're gonna see if you follow that nicely, you're not gonna be hampered by any, even like material diseases, things like that. It's because people are unclean. Of course, first of all, we have to be clean in our consciousness, but the material things we should not avoid them, and if we just keep it sterile, keep it clean, then we're not going to be hampered in our devotional service. So it's almost time to finish the class. Thank you for joining, everybody. Max Prabhu, perhaps you have a question, something you would like to mention as a comment.
So, we're all trying to be Vaishnavas. Does that mean that I can commit offences to other devotees who aren't Vaishnavas yet?
Sorry?
Does that mean I can just commit offences willy-nilly to to devotees who aren't pure Vaishnavas yet? Is it still going to be? It's still going to be a great offence.
No, but who is a Vaishnav? Vaishnav never thinks of himself as a Vaishnav. But now I became someone that's above someone. No, he thinks. You can take example of Krishna Kaviraj Das Goswami, that he considered himself Lord in the worm and the stool. So if you really feel like that, or even if you just understand it theoretically, you would not take anyone as, especially in a temple. Of course, outside and people from that, we have some sort of like hierarchy or more formal behavior with them, just so they will learn, they will benefit. But still, even them, like I remember when I joined the temple, I really liked this, pastime Vishnujan Swami would do, that he would, anyone who his first time in a temple, he'd never been to a temple before, Vishnujan, he would take him, he will sit him and he will ask him, have you been to a temple? No. He'll put him on a chair and he would wash his feet.
Whoa.
And I did it a few times, and of course I'm not as humble as Vishnujan to keep the service. But I remember I did it, and sometimes people, they will burst into cry. They will cry. It will really touch their heart that, like someone washing your feet when you come to his home. Even they don't take it. In the beginning for them it's like it's applicable. They say, okay, it's so crazy. They sit on the floor and they put some peanut butter on the face. But when you really go to this extreme humility in the service to them, they can really, they can appreciate, more. So. Why did I even mention that? I forgot.
They can see there's something definitely more.
Yeah, so we're not into these gradations and statuses, but even with the people from the outside, we can exhibit, like we can show this behavior. We're not Vaishnavas, but we can show them how Vaishnava he acts always from lower platform. He's not thinking, I'm above, now I'm above. In the material world, everyone is trying to climb above. Why? To pull on each other's head. They're trying to reach a position to control, to cause someone some stress. But Vaishnava, no, the opposite. The more we advance, the more we go under other devotees. We serve under dasa, anudasa. The more you become a servant, the more you advance in Krishna consciousness. And that's actually the bliss. If you think about it, our ananda, our bliss derive from service. So the more service, the more humble service you do, the more humble service you get, you become more blissful. And you can see Jayananda Prabhu, whose disappearance day we're going to celebrate in 9 days. He all the time he would be jolly. You'll never find him, down or. And what he would do, mostly he would collect the garbage, dumpster dive, do very menial things, but people, when they would meet him, they'll think immediately, I want to join the temple. Why? Because they thought, if the garbage man is so happy, right. Then I can't wait to meet the temple president, Of course, their understanding is different, but when they see this contradiction of their material mentality and spiritual mentality, that's really captures the spiritual potency in every single one of these people we're preaching to. So we should understand that this is theory, and as they say, fake it until you make it. There's no harm if people fake, this principle of humility. The atmosphere, at least, materially, it's going to be more pleasant. Like people, here, Canada, United States, maybe Canada a bit more. People, they do it in a fake way, which I personally I don't like. Coming from Israel, it's like really agitates me when I know that someone is, faking their humility or faking their, that they're nice. But still, it is nice because you're not gonna get, so much harassed for something external, or people are just, more nice. So in a temple too, we can take to that example and just try to be more nice, especially to devotees. Vishnujan Swami Maharaj, he says, if you're nice so much to someone who comes, just a new person that comes here for the first time, you're ready to wash his feet, how much more nice you should be to the devotees that sacrifice their life to the service of Shishirada Damodar or Dwarkadish. So there was a nice pastime too that he went to visit from Seattle. He went to visit devotees from Vancouver, and he went to visit, and because of the weather or some conditioning like that, devotees are very, very like low on energy, and and the temple president, he was pushing, go books, collect the books, we need Lakshmi. So Vishnujan, he said, stop. We're going to. They went to Stanley Park. You been to Stanley Park?
No.
It's a very nice, it's just like Central Park, but it's an island which is attached to downtown Vancouver. So you just take all of them there. He took all of them there, and he was massaging each and one of those feet. He would take mustard oil and massage their feet.
Wow.
And like the devotees after that, they were like completely like, wow, this is this like the spiritual world with this devotee. So we should all take example of these great personalities. Starting from Srila Prabhupada, all the Mahajans, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and especially too devotees from more recent times like Vishnujan Swami, Jananda Thakur. We can more even learn, I would say, because they're more approachable and they're more accessible, to our understanding. And they explain Prabhupada too. They crack down the philosophy by more personal example. So let's see if there are any questions or comments here. There's a lot of comments from Dr. Robin. Thank you so much. Very nice to see you all active. We have 70, just kidding, 7 viewers. It's not the Living Monk channel yet. But let's make it happen. Share this channel, this video with your friends on WhatsApp on the Living Monk channel. Actually, many of the shares are on WhatsApp, like 60% of the shares. So thank you so much, Prabhu, for doing that. And the Living Monk channel exploded basically in the last few months. We're gonna reach almost 20,000 subscribers, and let's make it here too. Why not to make Krishna consciousness go viral? And this channel specifically, we will be dedicating all the live streams here from Spain and from the United States at the moment. Some other temples going to join, they're going to stream here too. And share it, why not? Share it on WhatsApp, share it here on YouTube, in your email, Gmail, Facebook, Instagram. So, Ostap is here. Deepak Sharoy, we seen you yesterday on the Bhagavad Gita class. Thank you so much for joining. Okay, back to Robin says, actually, Chaitanya Chaitamita, there is a solution how Westerns should take darshan. Oh, okay. The Bhada Kirtana pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This means, there is a quote from the Chaitanya Chaitamita, this means that if one is not allowed to enter the temple, or if he thinks himself unfit to enter to the temple, he can look at the wheel from the outside of the temple. He is as good as seeing the deity within. Oh, wow, beautiful. Thank you, Prabhu, for the quote. Yeah, actually, great devotees, even like Haridas Thakur or Sanatana Goswami, Rupa Goswami, they will not even go. There is like there are 2 paths to go around the temple, I think, one on the shore and one closer to the temple where the priests, they go. And Rupa Goswami, there is a pastime that Rupa Goswami, he went through the beach, although the shore, the sand was so hot that he burst his feet from the heat.
Wow.
Still, he went from the outside during, in the afternoon, like 108 degrees, because he felt himself unqualified, so we should not feel, that, our Krishna consciousness is hampered, or we should not feel down that we're not allowed to this temple or that temple. If high personalities like, Haridas Thakur, they were not allowed, and they didn't make any commotion. They accepted that. Oh, yes, I'm not qualified. This is an actual behavior, exemplary behavior of a Vaishnava, that he's not pushing himself, on anyone. I'm not allowed there. Oh, yes, I'm a rascal number one. I'm an offender. And because of this pure attitude, Lord Jagannath personally, as Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, would come himself every day with prasadam to visit Haridas Thakur. Why I mentioned that, why I give example of that now they are trying to allow Westerners. I don't know if that's actually going to happen in the next decade or so, but it is just to emphasize Srila Prabhupada's glory, that he showed how potent is the mission of the Sankirtan movement, that it can purify even lechas or yavanas. Based on Shastric example and proof, he actually, it's proven, So, of course, we should not demand access there, but Shastrically speaking, according to the law of Shastra, we should actually be allowed. But we should not, of course, demand. And it goes to any temple, there's so many temples of a former institution of our spiritual master, International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Due to this understanding and that misunderstanding, we're not allowed to come, so we should not be, we should not think ourselves as bereft of Krishna consciousness. Quite the opposite. We should continue serving in separation to Srila Prabhupada, and the ecstasy we're going to derive will be many, many times more. Jai. Hare Krishna. So thank you so much for joining. Bhakta Max Prabhu, my humble self, from Chandradas, your servant. We're here in Washington. And we're going to see you all in the evening stream, Bhagavad Gita class. Make sure you hit the reminder button on YouTube. There is a notification button. So I'll see you all there. And Vipaya Nitai Prabhu, nice to see you. Thank you, Bhakta Robin, again for the nice quotes. We're going to see you all later. Haribol. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Tagora Premanande Hari Haribol. Share, like, and subscribe.